so much, and thank you for welcoming us today. How are you guys doing? Yeah, great. We're here to talk and learn a little bit more about customer experience impact and how medical and commercial teams can work together to really drive these synergies. So, who do we have on stage today? I'm here with my lovely colleague, Sini.
Hi, my name is Sini, and I'm the Director of Customer Excellence in Ireland. And I used to work in a similar role like Marc in the regional office of Novo Nordisk in Denmark. And before my love affair with Pharma, I worked with B2C in event management, marketing, and education.
Thank you so much, Sini. And my name is Marc, and I've been with Novo Nordisk for 2 years. I focus on omnichannel customer engagement for region Europe and Canada. But before that, I'm also one of those crazy people we heard about. I used to be in e-commerce and digital marketing for fashion, luxury, and design brands. So you might wonder, why am I here? But it's all good, and I love Pharma, and I think we have a lot of things to learn from the industries we've been in to really take it to the next step. And as Sini alluded to, we have worked in the past, and we're both very passionate about cross synergies, teamwork, and also selling Sunset. You know, it's one of the hit shows, and yeah, that's just on the personal side. But if we go through our agenda for today, we're going to start off by talking a little bit about the who. Who are we trying to impact? Who are we trying to engage? Because there's multiple layers in that. Then we're going to go into the why. I mean, why are we even doing it? We've heard many cool examples today of why customer experience matters for patients, for society, for HCPs, etc. Then we're going to give you some tangible examples, and we really hope that you can take them home when you're working from home or from the office and say, like, what did those crazy kids from Novo Nordisk say? Maybe we can do something like that. Then Sini is going to take us through as well the when. When should we do this? Should we do it next year or 2 years? And the hint is that the time is now. Then we'll wrap up with the what's next. What should you guys take home? What can be useful from tomorrow? So, that was a little bit about the agenda.
Yes.
Sini, would you like to take us through a little bit about the who?
I will, absolutely. So the who are we going to talk? Who are we trying to impact? Whose needs we are trying to solve here? And in this context, we are not trying to impress you with anything fancy and beautiful. We are trying to give some clarity around how can we help the HCPs. So we're talking about HCPs as customers in this context. Even though we acknowledge that the consumers, the patients, they have their word on the say when they go to the practice, the office, and they want to get certain prescriptions, certain medication, but still HCP is the one that makes the decision, writes the script. So how can we influence them? How can we help them to navigate in that landscape where they work in very high demand job, it's stressful, they have a limited amount of time to get to know the patient when they come into the GP's office. So how, as a pharma company, we can help them to do that. And it's quite complex in a way because we tend to think that we know what we need to deliver, but are we really looking into the insights and the needs of the HCPs every single day? So, trends, myself and Marc, we like trends, you know,
yes.
See this. And now we're going to insert some facts into the trends as well. So soon, 75% of all the HCPs will be millennial or even younger. So these people, they consume social media and AI tools like they were always there. They're pretty different how they collaborate, how they collect information, and how do they want the information to be delivered to them. So how do we use that channel and some of the latest news flash from IQVIA, Marc?
Yes. So IQVIA just released a report a couple of months ago where they looked through all the current HCP trends, and I found some really cool things in there. 38% of HCPs use Gen I for medical content, which is quite a lot. 46% of HCPs use ChatGPT on a weekly basis. So this is huge, as Sini alluded to. 64% of HCPs rank independent medical websites as critical. This also means that third-party channels are huge for them in terms of credibility. 80% also mentions that KOLs or DOLs, which is an area we also find really interesting, mention that they are critical sources for information as well. And then only 20%, I think there was a few numbers earlier today about the trust in pharma. It's quite low. So we really need to work on the value offering, right, Sini?
Yeah, isn't that kind of a funny thing that only 20% of the HCPs have high trust in pharma, and we are still trying to deliver the same message over and over again. So how are we in Symphony to embrace these trends, and how can we translate them into tangible actions?
Exactly. Thank you so much, Sini. And before we go into the how, we also wanted to share a little bit about the why. Why are we even here? What's the reason for talking about this? And of course, we're here to provide value to HCPs and in turn to patients and society. And we've heard quite a lot about the need for change today, and I find that super interesting. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why do we need change, but also in relation to an industry I come from. Because I think we can learn so much from retail. Because about 10-15 years ago, I started my career within the fashion industry, working for one of the motherships, H&M. And there we were struggling with many of the same things we struggle with today. The execs, they put us in the back of the room, saying like, okay, you can talk a bit later about that nonsense, that digital stuff. Clip to 10 years later, when they realized all the companies that kind of missed the ball, they were all in bankruptcy. So the players like Amazon and ASOS, they swooped in, they knew customers were looking for that, just that we're talking about the Amazon click, and kind of gain market share. So I think there's a lot to learn. There's a few things that I think are extra tangible for us as pharma companies. The changes will be merciless. That's what we saw in fashion. The customers, be it HCPs or patients, they do what they need to get what they want. They won't wait for us to develop some crazy good AI offering. No, they will get what they need when they need it. We heard a little bit about D2C channels earlier today. Consumers and patients are now in control. We heard about a very good example of someone putting into ChatGPT their symptoms and diagnosis and then delivering to the HCP kind of the treatment they were looking for. We'll see even more of that. Something we spoke a lot about in the fashion industry many years ago was that digital was kind of like an option, something you chose if you had time. It's not an option anymore. It's super critical. And also, regardless of the glossy exterior of fashion, I know it's, fashion runways, campaigns, it's super hard work. The teams have to be in Symphony all the time, otherwise it will all fail. The campaigns will go bust, the collections will be horrible, and the customers will go somewhere else. So there's a few critical things we can learn from retail, a lot more I guess, but these are some of the highlights. So this is a little bit about the why, but let's go into the how. And how can we really embrace this Symphony approach?
Indeed, and before we jump into the how can we actually also capture the essence of whatever Marc said around the retail, around who is the customer, what are the insights? And we used a lot of buzzwords and maybe some buzz sentences, but how can we actually bring that into reality, into the day-to-day jobs that we all have in different areas of pharma? First of all, you need to have a robust CX plan. You have to come up with a plan with your cross-functional teams that meets the needs of the HCPs, and it has to be delivered from every single department, not only from your marketing, from your medical, or from your CE. We are really good at working in silos in pharma, but how can we come together and have that robust plan that caters the needs? Hire doers. So I can give you an example. When I was doing my hiring in my team, I was told from the HR that you should have strategic people, you should have thinkers, you should have someone that aligns. But where's the doers? Who are the ones that actually can execute the plans? So I would propose you to hire people from retail, from different areas of business that can actually execute from the day one when they get the job. And in pharma, we're not the best in that, right?
No,
Align. I know that this is probably a repetition to all of you that alignment and full-on alignment is super important. But without that, we can't really have that robust plan across the different departments conducted the best possible way. We talked about facts and insights as well, but how can we translate these insights to tangible actions? And I believe that the doers are critical position to do that. So they actually know what's happening out there. They're looking at the numbers, but also transforming those numbers into actions that we can deliver. Because just looking at the trends or looking at the numbers doesn't get us anywhere. And then repeat and remind. So whenever you have a product launch or you have a situation in your market that transforms your thinking, or you have something else that you consider that may have an impact in your robust plan, you have to repeat and remind again, because usually we, in pharma companies, we love our plans. We love them as our children. We want to keep them intact and continue with them. But we also have to be objective around the plans and remind ourselves how can we change them when the time comes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sini. We would love to give you an actual example of when Symphony really comes into play. So this, due to all kinds of reasons, I can't say which market, but let's call it Market X. It's somewhere in Europe. They were launching a product earlier this year. They were targeting GPs, endos, and cardios, and they were phenomenal when it comes to everything we just mentioned. They have a robust CX plan, they have cross-functional work, they do alignment, they do the insights, and they change the plan. This sounds easier done than said, but that's really happened. And some of the results were quite groundbreaking. We know how hard it is to get HCPs to pharma-sponsored events, right? Everyone has that challenge. But in this specific market, for this product launch, 1 out of every 9 endos participated in the launch webinar, which is super good. So it's a fantastic result. They worked really hard on reaching both the known endos and the unknown, and we're really proud of where this landed. And here you can also see I'm mentioning something called the cheat sheet, and this is something we would love to give to you. So when you come home, you can just cross-check this with your commercial medical functions, like, do we actually have this? So we mentioned that Market X had a robust kind of plan for product launches, but it could also be congress activation or anything like that. So what should we do according to the cheat sheet? We should have a CX plan or engagement planner that Sini mentioned. This is just an example, very top line. It should note down the months, it should note down the campaigns, it should also note down different channels used. This can, of course, not limit you. It should be something that you can continuously reiterate, but it should be kind of your Bible. So when someone says, oh, I have a great idea, does it align? Something new is happening, does it align? Etc. We've also talked quite a lot today about micro journeys, macro journeys, etc. And I think that's great. We should also see them as kind of enablers of creativity. We have one example up here, unknown, known customers. You have the launchment in the middle, leading from unbranded to branded. We know HCPs love to start with a scientific content approach and then go into more branded. So that should also be branded. So this is a long word, but we have heard a lot about it, governance. And governance is super key. Because if you don't know who's responsible or who's accountable or who should be consulted or informed, it's really hard to know who drops the ball or who should we celebrate doing a great job. So really important to have this nailed down as well. Then weekly updates. They don't have to be super long. No one likes a long meeting, let's be honest. But let's do 30 minutes, just like, hey Sini, how's it going in medical world? Are we actually activating during the congress? Yes, we are, don't worry. Have you built the website? Yes. Is the marketing automation done? Yes, etc. So this is the cheat sheet. Feel free to copy it. This is what we use when we inspire our teams to get things done. But Sini, when we say the when, should we do this in 2 years, now? What happens?
Well, Marc, usually in pharma we tend to plan today and execute tomorrow because we're not really good at long-term planning, right? Are we? But then again, we also try to procrastinate with things, so it will be 2040 when we're ready if we start
exactly
tomorrow. All right. we should start today. Today is the day to start. What I'm asking you to do when you go back to your desks and you're super eager to now conduct our superior cheat sheet and plans is to review whatever is happening in your market in 2026. Because quite often we neglect the big things, and when we start to build these AGV journeys, and then we realize that actually we had a big congress in April that we should have incorporated into the entire plan. So look at the plans. Align on the priorities, because not everything is a priority. Doers and strategies. I already said something about that. So you need to have the best possible crew in place, and the ratio between people that are actually executing and the ones that are thinking strategically on the plans. And then just make it happen. Start to compose your own symphony.
Yes, thank you so much, Sini, talking to the notion of acting now. So now we're coming to the final part, and we hope you really enjoyed the first few parts of today. So what's next? What would we like you guys to take home? So we've gone through a few different elements. So who should really act after this session? Of course, all of us, be it commercial, medical, customer engagement, leadership teams, the mysterious people. We should all act in accordance to make the strongest external impact with the internal resources we have. And of course, to be the benefit of HCPs, patients, society at large. Why? We really want to improve health at scale. All of us in this room has a huge obligation to help society, help their populations be healthier and happier. And we heard some really cool statistics. If we invest €1, we get €2 out. And I think that really speaks to our responsibility as pharma companies. And also Sini mentioned many of these interesting trends. And that's also our responsibility to act on these trends. How? We spoke a lot about the priorities, and given our commercial engagement plan, etc., there's a few key events for 2026 and beyond that we should really focus on. Rome wasn't built in one day, it was many days. So we should really focus on the things that matter for the business and really hone in on those. And then we also introduce you to the cheat sheet. I bet you also have something similar, but it's really good to crystallize this, walk it through the teams to make sure they also buy into it. And then when, we spoke about that as well, there's no time like the present. We think that using the insights that you have from all your customer interactions, patient engagements, etc., you can use these to really create a robust CX plan. So that was a little bit of us speed talking for like almost 20 minutes. So we just wanted to conclude by saying we really hope you enjoyed our symphony, and we really look forward to hearing about yours. Feel free to reach out to us if you'd like, or discuss anything. We're more than happy to be approached afterwards. So thank you.